Beloved, welcome. If you are here right now, I believe it is not an accident. Something gentle but powerful has led you to this moment. Because today, this truth isn't just something you hear and nod at. It is something you are allowed to receive. For so long, you have been living like you are still in the fight, shoulders tight, breath shallow, hard on guard, your mind rehearsing the worst before you even taste peace. That is what happens when life trains you to expect the next blow. When survival becomes your default setting, when rest feels like a luxury you cannot afford. But hear this clearly. Heaven isn't asking you to keep proving you are strong. The struggle that tried to name you has already been answered. The verdict has been spoken. The battle is finished. And now you are invited into rest. Yes, your body may still remember the tension. Your spirit may still carry bruises you don't talk about. Your mind may replay the hard scenes it took to survive. But victory isn't always loud. Sometimes it is simply this: you are still here. What was meant to erase you didn't win. And, as Scripture whispers, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Matthew 11:28. The hardest part is behind you. Now you can exhale. Take a moment and look back honestly. There were nights when sleep escaped you, when your mind rehearsed every reason it might be easier to quit. There were days you moved forward on instinct alone, unsure if you had the strength to show up again tomorrow. I remember speaking with someone who told me they once stood in their kitchen at 3 a.m., staring at nothing, wondering if they had even make it to sunrise. They said the weight felt so crushing that breathing itself felt like defiance. But here is what they learned. Showing up when everything in you wants to disappear, that is not weakness, that is warfare. And yet tomorrow kept arriving, and somehow you were still standing in it. That kind of endurance doesn't come from human effort. It goes deeper than discipline or determination. You were preserved, held together by something greater than you realized. God did not allow the weight to crush you because the story was not finished. Think about it. How many times should you have broken but didn't? How many moments felt impossible to survive? Yet here you are on the other side of them. That is not luck. That is divine preservation. We went through fire and water, but you brought us to a place of abundance. Psalm 66:12, and now something has been settled. Heaven has spoken quietly but firmly. The long battle that stretched through years, patterns, even bloodlines has reached its end. That is why your inner world feels different lately. The same fears don't attach the way they once did. Old temptations have lost their grip. Peace is finding room in your life. Even while noise still exists around you, something shifted, something closed. You might not fully recognize it yet. When you have lived under constant pressure, rest can feel unfamiliar, even undeserved. Your nervous system is still calibrated for danger. Your mind still scans for threats that no longer exist. But when God declares a victory, it doesn't wait for visible proof. His word moves faster than human awareness. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies are new every morning. Lamentations 3:22. So if you have been waiting for confirmation, let this be it. You crossed the place that was meant to end you. You are still here. And that means a new chapter has already begun. Listen carefully. The war that hunted you has lost its authority over your life. You didn't escape it by accident. You outlasted it. And that fact alone changes the meaning of this moment. Because of all you have walked through, you are allowed to rest in a new way now. Not the restless pause where your body slows down, but your heart stays alert, waiting for the next storm. This is the kind of rest that comes with a full exhale. When something deep inside you realizes it is finished, not suspended, not waiting to restart, finished. Let me be clear, this doesn't mean challenges will disappear from your life. Life will still test you, but the specific war that hunted you, the one that tried to consume your sense of self and wear you down until you forgot who you were, that battle no longer has permission to follow you. Think of it this way. A woman once told me she spent 10 years fighting the same inner battle every single day. It felt like waking up to the same courtroom, the same accusations, the same sentence. Then one morning she woke up and realized the courtroom was empty. The accuser was gone. She didn't know when it happened. She just knew it was over. That is what God is doing in your life right now. He is clearing out the courtroom. He is silencing the voices that have no right to speak over you anymore. In this world, you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. John 16:33. You are not simply entering another chapter. You are stepping into a season marked by recognition. Heaven recognized you first. It saw that you stayed when quitting would have been easier, that you carried truth when compromise felt safer, that you kept going when there was no applause and no reassurance. And recognition on earth will come in its time. Not because you suddenly became deserving, but because the timing finally aligned with the truth you have been living all along. There is something else you cannot overlook. The way you see yourself must shift too. You don't need to keep replaying a fight that has already been decided. You don't need to keep wearing armor that already served its purpose. You don't need to move through life as if danger is always imminent. No matter what survival taught you, you are allowed to set some things down. You are allowed to breathe without tension. You are allowed to walk with an ease that doesn't feel the need to explain or apologize for itself. You are allowed to trust that the foundation beneath you will hold, if peace feels unfamiliar after years of endurance. That makes sense. But God is not asking you to keep proving how strong you are. He is inviting you to live like someone who already made it through. That invitation changes everything. It reshapes how you pray, no longer from urgency, but from trust. It reshapes how you love, no longer guarded by fear, but grounded in wholeness. It reshapes how you carry yourself, not striving to earn worth, but standing in the quiet certainty that you are already chosen. My soul finds rest in God alone. My salvation comes from Him. Psalm 62:1. Here is what I need you to understand. You have been through the proving ground. You have endured what was meant to undo you, and heaven's declaration over your life is clear and settled. You already won. Let that truth sink in fully. The restlessness, the doubt, the anxiety that keeps scanning for the next battle, those are echoes of a war that has ended. They don't belong to you anymore. What belongs to you now is peace. What belongs to you now is freedom. What belongs to you now is a steady, grounded rest. Not laziness, but security. The kind of rest that comes from knowing the foundation beneath you will hold. It always has, and it always will. Please hear this clearly, my dear friend. Rest is not weakness. Rest is what strength looks like when the war has finally ended. You carried tension in your body for so long. You learned to stay alert, to brace yourself for the next problem, the next disappointment, the next betrayal. That posture became familiar. It became normal, so normal that even now, with the hardest battles behind you, your mind still scans the horizon, searching for danger that no longer exists. But God is gently saying to you now, you don't have to live like that anymore. You are safe to rest. Rest does not mean doing nothing. Rest means living without the fear that everything will collapse the moment you pause. Rest means releasing the weight you already carried past the finish line. Rest is trust in motion. Think about it. When someone finishes a marathon, no one questions whether they have earned the right to sit down. No one accuses them of being lazy for catching their breath. Why? Because the effort is undeniable. The proof is written into their body, into their stride, into the distance already behind them. That is you. You ran a distance. Others never believed you could. You endured storms meant to empty you completely. And the simple fact that you are still here is evidence enough that your endurance was real. That is why rest is no longer optional for you. It is necessary. It is what prepares you for what comes next. This is the shift you are being invited to make. You are not in constant danger anymore. You are not one mistake away from losing everything. You are not living under a sentence of endless exhaustion. You are not defined by the battles you survived. The fight tried to teach you that survival had to be your identity. But heaven is teaching you something new. Rest is now your inheritance. The Lord gives strength to his people. The Lord blesses his people with peace. Psalm 29:11. When you begin to live from that place of rest, everything changes. You notice you don't have to rush to prove yourself anymore. The right opportunities come toward you without you chasing them. You stop running after voices that never truly saw you. You stop explaining yourself to people who were committed to misunderstanding you. Rest silences desperation, and desperation was the last chain still trying to hold you. When that chain breaks, your spirit finally settles. A man once told me he spent decades trying to earn approval from people who were never going to give it. He worked harder, achieved more, sacrificed endlessly, and the goalpost kept moving. Then one day, in a moment of complete exhaustion, he stopped. He just stopped. And in that stillness, he heard God say, "You have been fighting for something I already gave you." That moment changed his entire trajectory. Maybe that is what you need to hear today. You have been fighting for something heaven already declared over you. Rest doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you abandon responsibility. It means fear no longer governs your decisions. It means you no longer believe everything depends on you pushing harder, trying more, or stretching yourself thinner. It means you are finally letting God carry what he intended to carry all along. And this isn't a metaphor. It is a promise. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5-7. That is not poetic language. That is covenant. Your rest is part of the reward. A soldier doesn't stay on the battlefield forever. A farmer doesn't plow endlessly without expecting harvest. You were never meant to live in constant warfare. You were meant to live in rhythms. Yes, there are seasons of effort, but there are also seasons of receiving. This is one of them. Pay attention to how God is already inviting you into it. The quiet moments that feel less like emptiness and more like fullness. The peace that doesn't make logical sense but refuses to leave you. The calm that settles without explanation. The sudden awareness that you are not as afraid as you used to be. And it is okay if this feels unfamiliar. When you have been wired for survival, even joy can feel suspicious. Quiet can feel dangerous. Love can feel too good to be true. That doesn't mean something is wrong. It just means your body and mind are still catching up to what your spirit already knows. Heaven has already declared it. The battle is over. Now your nervous system is learning how to live in that truth. So be gentle with yourself. Practice resting the same way you practiced fighting. Practice receiving the way you once practiced persevering. Over time, you will see that rest doesn't make you soft. It sharpens you. You think more clearly when you are not exhausted. You love more deeply when you are not running on empty. You build stronger when you are not constantly repairing yourself. That is why God is insisting on this shift. He is not just giving you a break. He is giving you sustainability. He is showing you that His blessing was never meant to cost you your well-being. His love was never meant to feel like another war. This rest is holy. It is restoration. It is God saying, "You have done what you thought was impossible. Now breathe. I will take it from here." Let me give you something practical to take with you today. First, before you go to sleep tonight, speak this aloud. The battle is over. I am allowed to rest. Say it until your body believes it. Second, identify one thing you have been carrying that isn't yours to carry. It might be someone else's expectation. It might be an old narrative. It might be guilt that has no foundation. Name it and consciously release it. Third, give yourself permission to enjoy something without guilt this week. A quiet morning, a walk with no destination, a moment of stillness. Rest is a discipline worth practicing. And finally, pay attention to the shift. Notice when old fears try to resurface and remind yourself they no longer have authority. The verdict is already spoken, so tonight, close your eyes without guilt. Exhale without fear. Smile without waiting for something to go wrong. Because this time, it will not. The verdict is victory, the invitation is rest, and both belong to you. The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In His love, He will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing. Zephaniah 3:17. You are not reaching for God from a distance. You are already held. You are already here, resting in His presence right now. Thank you for remaining in this space with me. If something in this message helped your shoulders soften, or your breath slow down, take a moment to type, "I receive rest" in the comments. Let it be a quiet agreement with what God is settling inside you right now. And if you know someone who has been living in survival mode for far too long, someone who needs permission to rest, share this with them. It may be the reminder their soul has been waiting for. If you haven't already, subscribe so we can continue walking this path together gently. And honestly, the war is over. You are safe. You are held. You already won.